All right. Well, hi. My name is Shannon Ganam. I'm the Director of Community Collaboration for Together for Arizona. We appreciate you guys taking the time this morning to learn about the chatbot that has been, well, I won't go into too much detail, but the chatbot has been in its evolution for a while now, and we're really excited to share with you some details about the chatbot to see if it's something that you think your agency or organization would find valuable in sharing to the families that you serve. So we're going to kick things off and give a special shout out and thank you to all of the different community partners that have been a part of this work with the chatbot. In particular, we've had incredible partnerships with folks from the Family Involvement Center, Valley Leadership, the Valley Leadership Impact Maker, as well as 211, and countless other individuals who have participated in not just monthly meetings, but also weekly meetings day in and day out. And Vijay, also special shout out to Botco as well. So thank you all for the way that you've helped to make this come to fruition. It's really exciting to be here. So, like I said, I'm Shannon, and I'm going to ask these guys to introduce themselves real briefly. Dave, can you introduce yourself to the group?
Yes, good morning, everybody. Dave Brown. I'm an action team member and project manager. Valley Leadership's a project manager for the bot development, is also part of the Impact Maker.
Thanks, Dave. Lindsay?
Oh, my name is Lindsay. I work for the Family Involvement Center as a peer parent navigator, and I'm also part of the action team.
Thanks, Lindsay. Stephen?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Stephen Flawn, part of volunteer with Valley Leadership's Impact Maker organization.
Thanks so much. So this is just a small snapshot of a bigger group of individuals who've been spending, like I said, just week after week trying to get this thing launched and off the ground. But the four of us are going to be taking you on this journey today and sharing with you about the chatbot. So what we're going to be covering today is learning a little bit more about how we built the chatbot and how it's supporting Arizona families, and also how to use the chatbot and how to get started incorporating it into your platform. So if you are at an organization or an agency that might have interest in actually hosting the chatbot, we're going to tell you a little bit more about that. What you're going to do is you'll be able to follow the implementation guide instructions that we have to be able to add the chatbot to your website if that's something you are interested in doing. And more importantly, I think, or most important, every one of us on the call has an opportunity to be able to direct people, your clients, your community partners, and other potential users to the actual chatbot. And we'll also give you an opportunity to provide feedback to make the experience better for the end user as well. So that's what we're going to be covering during our time today. When families are or are approaching a time of crisis, they are in need of help of finding resources that meet their needs. And part of Together for Arizona, we have an action team that's specifically focused on what we call family navigation. And within that umbrella of the Family Navigation Action Team, this group of individuals that are from, different industries and organizations, people with system and lived experience, have come together because we want to find a better way to help families achieve their safety and their safe sustainability goals by supporting their ability to self-advocate for themselves, to help them with education and get them access to the needed supports that they're looking for. And so with that in mind, the chatbot is one of the solutions or implementation efforts that has been created as a result of this action team. So I will hand it over to Dave, and he'll share with you a little bit about what the chatbot is.
Yes, thank you, Shannon. And again, another shout out to all of the team members, the action team members, all of the members of Together for Arizona. It's been a work in progress for many months and a couple of years now. So great to finally see all of that weekly work, monthly work come to fruition in this cool chatbot. It took a lot of brains and a lot of exploration, a lot of studies. I want to go back to a meeting way back in the day when Morrison presented here, the risk factors for interaction with DCS. And it was really that sparked this idea of how can we get families the services they need quickly and efficiently, as Shannon mentioned, but also just reducing the noise. So we actually did a quick Google search of if I'm a family and this is what it looks like. And it was overwhelming, the number of resources, the number of ways to get resources, the number of ways to search for how you'd get resources. So we took that a step further over the subsequent months, talking with people with lived experience, doing some listening sessions with lived experience and people in the system, and then really just got feedback that, yeah, it needs to be easier, it needs to be less noisy. And what we heard overwhelmingly was fast, easy to use, text-based, and anonymous. Anonymous, I purposely leave last because it was something where, given the interaction with DCS, there's lots of mistrust as far as this is also the agency that may take my child away. So to keep things anonymous to start really was an important thing. But these four we discovered were really the big reasons behind why we want to do a chatbot tool in particular. So would love to put Lindsay Shine on the spot because she has been hugely instrumental in helping us think about this over the last 2 years when it comes to why a bot. So Lindsay, if you could share a little bit about your role with the Family Involvement Center, in particular your role as a parent ally, and how you came into this work.
Yeah, certainly. So the way I came into this work is I made a lot of mistakes. I definitely struggled as a parent, as I'm sure many of us have before. And that experience led to me being connected with the Family Involvement Center, and I've stayed connected with them and have worked with them for the last 5 years. So Family Involvement Center does a lot of stuff, like anything that a family might need, they've got their hands in it and they can help support families. As a parent ally, my focus is a little bit more narrow, and I'm not helping people with family court. I'm not helping them with all the other things, juvenile probation, stuff like that. I'm going to be helping them with just DCS stuff. No, hold on, babe. I'm going to be helping them with just DCS. Sorry about that. And so, we're talking to families who have already found themselves in crisis. They've already, landed in hot water. So I think one of the cool things about this chatbot is hopefully we're going to be dipping our toes into, helping families before they found themselves in crisis.
Thank you. What do you, in your experience, what do you hear most from families about how they currently access services?
We talked a lot about the noise. It's very noisy. A lot of times it feels like we're just trying to throw something against the wall and see what sticks and like, okay, we'll go with it. It can be very difficult to find resources. The names, phone numbers change very often. Many agencies, places will be giving out the same lists for years, with the same recycled resources, and for a family to be handed the same list that's already been given to them, it can be a very defeating feeling. So, it's just very hard for families to keep up with what's going on around them for resources.
So then why would any family want to use a chatbot?
Well, it keeps up with their busy lives. It's going to be very convenient. Everybody's already got their phones in their hands. They're on their phones all day, not all day, but everyone's on their phones. So the answers are at their fingertips. They still have the ability to multitask, and it's anonymous. They can probe and see what's out there without having to give out their personal information or commit to callbacks or those types of things. And hopefully it offers them a little bit more precision before they start picking up the phone and calling all those different numbers.
Great. Well, thank you again for all your help in bringing this to life. Now we're going to hand it over to Stephen Flond, who's going to show us how the bot works in real life and walk us through a couple of slides about how the thing will work. Go ahead, Stephen.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Morning again, everybody. So How does it work? This is not something where it's a bunch of people sitting behind the scenes on a keyboard furiously typing away as you answer something. This is an artificial intelligence system that we've built and trained with many responses to get you the right answer as quickly as possible. So we've essentially set this up so that the bot asks a series of simple questions using pretty generic, simple language so that we're not confusing anybody or throwing terms that they have never heard or seen their way. And we've limited it at this point to 3 areas of focus: food resources, clothing assistance, and cell phone requests. The world obviously has many areas where we could have looked at, and we narrowed it to these 3 based on feedback from the groups that Dave talked about and listening sessions to make sure that we were really targeting resources that we knew this chatbot would be able to provide. If it's a really difficult thing for a human being to get an answer to, we knew that the chatbot probably wouldn't have a high success of being programmed to return something that was useful for somebody. So we focused on these 3 areas. The great thing about technology is we have the ability to change and use feedback as we go on. So we kind of take the data as people enter their responses. And if we see that, oh goodness, food assistance, we're getting a whole bunch of questions about something that the chatbot doesn't currently have in its database right now, well, that's great. That's a feature that we can build in the future and continue to deliver extra value and make sure that the people that are using this chatbot really get what they need. So Shannon, can we take us to the next slide, please? Great. So how does it really work? The chatbot, as it's set up, has 3 ways. 2 of them are functional right now. 1 we are still feverishly working on for somebody to get access to the resource. You can access it through a computer, through a mobile device, basically anything that has access to the internet, and go on you can see the website in a second, and potentially more of your websites will have the chatbot linked into it. And we're working on having the text feature set up so that if somebody doesn't have an internet connection or they just don't have access to the internet at the moment, they can text the phone number instead, and the chatbot will still return those same set of values. So that's the first step. You log in, or you don't even log in. You go to the website, you pop it up, and you start typing it in. So then the website will ask you, introduce itself, ask you what language you'd like to have the answers in, and then really you start telling it what you need. The great thing about the chatbot is we were able to, based on common responses, create buttons inside of the chatbot that say, oh yes, I need help with a food box. And we'll show you some examples of this in a minute. And it has kind of started getting answers behind the scene for them already. The other nice thing about the chatbot is if you need something that doesn't necessarily fit in one of these buckets, you can type the text in and it will understand what you're asking. If it fits within one of the buckets that we know that we have resources for, that's great. We'll be able to provide you with more information. And if it doesn't, we'll be able to direct you to our partners at 211. So hopefully you can get what you need. So again, it's kind of a conversational flow. You type something, the chatbot will respond and potentially ask you more questions, and we'll keep going through that until you have the resources that you need. Next slide, if you would. So then this is what we're talking about with the resources. This screenshot here is somebody using the internet to get them the chatbot. It looks a little bit different than it will on the phone, but at the end of the day, it still gets you the resource that you need. You can see on the bottom there, it says that Andre House Dinner Service is what this is brought up for this particular flow. And you can click that link. It will take you either to Google Maps, or you can get their phone number, or you can go directly to their website and get the information that you need and hopefully get exactly what you need. So that's how it works. It's pretty simple. Everybody uses technology, like Lindsay said, all day, every day. So hopefully it's intuitive. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We'll walk through it a little bit. And if you have any questions or concerns, please throw them in the chat. Shannon and the rest of the team are monitoring, and we'll make sure that you get what you need. All right, so this is the Together for Arizona website. That is one of the websites that's hosting the chatbot. And you can see down in the right-hand corner here, we've got this beautiful little state of Arizona logo. If you click on that, it will pop up the chatbot. We are now seeing the chatbot. Here, let's go ahead and clear this. I had it open earlier. There we go. Okay, so it's like the first time we visited, it's welcoming us and it's asking which language we'd like. English is polished and it has been tested thoroughly. The Spanish variant is still being tested and it should be ready to go here in a few weeks. So we'll pick English for now. And you can see that it's asking for those areas that we had talked about: food, clothing, cell phone, other assistance. If you click other assistance, it'll say, please give us a little bit more information about what you're looking for, and then direct you to 211 so that the bot gathers a potential area for expansion in the future, but we also still get you to where you need. So for this example, let's say, okay, I am somebody that needs food assistance. And it gives you a little bit more information. Hey, we're just going to ask you a few more questions before we move on. What kind of food are you looking for? If you're saying, okay, hey, I'm looking for a food box. We know that SNAP benefits can impact what resources are available. So we built this question in here to say, do you currently receive SNAP benefits? Now, this question isn't asked on every single answer that you've been given. So it's not like we've created a one size fits all. We've really tailored the questions to the particular needs of the people. Let's say that no, we don't qualify for SNAP benefits currently. And it lets you know if you're looking to apply. We've put the hyperlink to the website. You can go ahead and you can click what you want. So, all right, great. It's saying it has some resources it thinks are available, but we want to narrow it down to make sure that we're providing you relevant resources. So plug in your zip code. I'm going to use a Phoenix zip code, but this is not just limited to Phoenix. This is the entirety of the state of Arizona in its database. So it's going to think for a second, and then it's going to return resources that are close to you. So go down a little bit more. Great. So you can see based on the arrows on the side here, that's telling us there's more than just one resource. You can walk through and see which makes the most sense to you. Click through and you will see you can get more details. You click on the button and it will join more info. It will give you more information here. Click to call. If I were doing this on my phone, it would populate that phone number right in my dial pad, and you can also go directly to the website. You will see that the bot is also courteous enough and wants to know if these resources are close enough to you. So it will ask the question, are they close enough to you? If yep, that's great. And if not, it will prompt you for a specific address. So if you have a specific address in mind, it will ask you, if you have a specific address in mind, it will let you put that in and it will try to give you something a lot closer. So let's do a completely different address this time. And we'll let it think. And then scroll back up a little bit and you can see it will again return resources this time instead of based on a zip code, based on that exact address. You can once again scroll through the list of resources to see what's available. If you have an interest in any one of them, again, click more details. It pops that up, gives you the option to call them, to visit their website, and hopefully gives you what you need. The chatbot also realizes that this may not be the end of your questions for the day. And so we have the option to go back to the beginning to ask for more food assistance. If you're looking for something like a cell phone or clothing, or if you're all done, that's great. So you can click on these and you can go through the other flows. Y'all can play with this on your free time. If we say no, thank you for now, it will prompt you to ask how it is. We love feedback. The bot in particular loves feedback. So if you had a great time, or if somebody that's using it had a great time, they can rank us 5 stars. Or if not, if they say, no, this was terrible, this is not something that was useful for me, they have the ability to give us the feedback as to why that didn't work. So I'm sorry, Vijoy, you're going to get a test one here. So, we can say like, oh, didn't return the resources. So then this sort of feedback is taken by the team and we can look to see what this particular flow or why this particular flow didn't return resources, and make sure that we correct that for the future and provide folks what they need. So I'm sorry, Shannon, I don't have it up on my second screen. Do you have any questions? Because that's about all that I had to show the gang.
That's perfect. We actually were going to pause for a minute to see if anybody had any questions about the functionality of the chatbot at the moment before we continue. Anybody have any questions? You can either take yourself off of mute, or if you want to put it in the chat, you could do that as well. Andrew asks the question, is this enabled statewide? Yes, it is.
Yes, we have resources throughout Arizona. We leverage the 211 resource database, and their resources are throughout the state.
I'll just add to that, as part of the testing that we've been doing over the last maybe month or so, we've also been engaging families and individuals with lived and system experience, and sometimes even providers with experience who have gone through and tested this. And thankfully, with their feedback, they've been able to identify even additional resources that can be added to the database to ensure that the resources that are being pulled are resources that the community is aware of, that maybe we didn't have in the original list as well. Any other questions before we continue? Let's see. Aaron asks, I know you're not collecting any personal information, but if you do in the future, do you plan to use follow-up letters with users? That's a great question. Does anybody want to answer that from the team? So you're hearing from someone other than me?
Sure, I can take a stab and others chime in too. Yes, the idea is that initially we wanted to launch with anonymity, but if and when, really hopefully a when, the bot connects to larger data systems and larger provider systems, for example, the closed loop referral system that's currently in progress with Access and other things, if a user wants to become known in order to support the services they're looking to receive, that would be an option. But generally, overall, we had lots of discussions around, initially we want to have this thing be anonymous. But when someone does want to become known so that they can do access things easier and better and talk to things that they've seen before, that it would allow for that.
And then the follow-up comment was thinking once the immediate needs are met, there could be more things that could be offered to the user. And yes, you're absolutely right with that. In this first version of the chatbot, the focus is on those 3 areas. But we are talking as a group what the next phase would look like to increase the amount of resources that are being made available. Do you have anything to add to that, Dave or Stephen or anybody?
I would add, as default, if a family comes to the bot and can only and has more than what the bot can provide, it is a warm handoff to 211. So it's not like, oh, the bot didn't serve me, I'm now stuck out again. It is connected to 211, and you'll talk to a human for that warm handoff if that's needed. Again, the bot wasn't meant to be, at least in these 3 areas initially, a cure-all for 80% of all calls that would ultimately end up at 211. It's actually more the 80-20 rule. If we can skim off 20% of things that make it easy for someone to find something quickly, and harder, more elaborate needs are met through 211, we hope that frees up time and capacity on your ends as providers as well, that the bot's able to get people out where they need to and get the services they need without having to take up more of the typical capacity times.
And if I could jump in as somebody who's been involved, is that all right?
Yes, please.
It's not supposed to be the be all and end all. It's a place to start. So as we have talked about this, we had to really look at what's reasonable that we can accomplish with this bot, because we've never done it before. And so the idea is that we can build onto it as we as it's implemented and as we find out how effective it is.
All right, well then let's talk about how you're gonna throw it on your website and get this in front of as many families as possible. So just a few quick slides here that we'll walk through. The first one, yeah, go ahead, Shannon, is kind of the technical aspect, which is getting the chatbot snippet. This is a long line of code that you add to your website. If you don't know how to do it, someone in your organization will, the tech person, marketing person. Pretty easy embedded code that will go in, and then that little bug thing at the bottom of the website will be available on your website. The second thing is sharing that the chatbot is available, so that it, especially with families, and knowing again that we're looking initially at food, clothing, and cell phone assistance. So, and we'll have some marketing information and materials that you'll be able to use to push this out in the coming weeks too. And then providing feedback. This is still considered a soft launch. And so your feedback from you as a provider doing this, but also as you hear from any of your clients, any of the families you work with saying, hey, this was great. Hey, this didn't work. Hey, I had a very technical glitch. Very much appreciate any kind of that feedback sent back our way so that we can continually improve. Again, special thanks to all of the action team members who did beta testing sessions. This thing was tested to the hilt. Doesn't mean that there's still not bugs out there. So as you get feedback from any kind of feedback from your families, would love to hear that. Next slide, we'll see what it looks like on the
Hey, Dave,
computer.
would you mind just speaking to just the opportunity to be able to host it on their actual website, as opposed to us keeping it accessible just on one website? Do you get my
Yes.
question?
More eyeballs, I think, so that more and more people can see it, and knowing that all of you have different communities you work with, and so having to refer to one site constantly, that's the beauty of the chatbot, is it can live on any website so people can see it. It also will have SMS text functionality here in the next 2-3 weeks as we move into what is called the hard launch. And so a phone number will be able to use so that you can promote it via phone number as well. But yeah, we wanted it to be living and exposed on as many websites as possible, just as anyone that might find or come to your website for something will be able to see, oh, there's a chatbot here that can help me with these things. Stephen, anything you want to add to that from the tech side?
No, it's just to call out that it's really simple to do. It is a lot easier than even like posting on Facebook. So we're here to help as well. If anybody has any questions or concerns about how to add it, if you are interested, just let us know. Real quick call out, Andrew and I did post a question in the chat here asking if it works in rural or tribal areas that may not have anything within 50 miles. In theory, yes, we've not limited anything to say it shouldn't work outside certain areas in Arizona. We are, however, limited by the resources available in the database right now. So hopefully not, but there may be some instances where if you truly are 150 miles from something that lives in our database, it may not pop up. But the 211 team is working feverishly all the time to add as many resources as they can. So hopefully over time it continues to get better and better. Shannon, David, I don't know if you had anything else there.
Yeah, I would just add that that's part of what we've been trying to do with our testing, and even this being a part of a soft launch with the call that you all are a part of. We really do have this, have a desire to have this be able to be reached by any family in Arizona. And so if in testing the chatbot for yourself, you find that there are resources that are not pulling up in your community that you know exists, please let us know. Like, that's the critical information that we need to be able to make this accessible. So if you find that there are resources that are not pulling that you're aware of, let us know, and we'd love to include that in the database. That's the only thing I would add.
Yes, great ad. Thank you, Shannon. So this is how to look on your website. This is how it currently looks on 2-in-1s. You see the regular website. You see that tiny little bug there in the corner with the cool logo. When someone clicks on it, the welcome message appears. So they're able to access it going online into a website. The next slide will show you what it looks like when you're on your phone. So there's the Impact Maker website, the Valley Leadership Impact Maker website. You'll see the little icon in the corner there. Someone clicks on it, welcome message appears. Again, we're assuming most are going to look at it like this because it's going to be accessed via their phone, which everyone is always on. And then finally, by this time next month, you'll be able to see, people will be able to access it via text interface, SMS, and it'll look like just anything else that you normally do when you text someone. You'll be able to say, hey, 87735 or whatever the number may be. Yes, what can I help you with? The three options will come up, and then you'll just be able to text like you would normally with anyone else. So pretty easy, as Stephen mentioned. You're going to see a link pop into the chat here with a form, because we want to be able to, we want to know who's able to put this on the website, so we can see just generally where it's showing up and how it's working, and getting some of that basic information. We want you to fill out a quick Google form that's now in the chat. This will also initiate you signing a partner hosting agreement, because that's just the way things happen in the internet world, and I can't go further than that with my knowledge. And then you'll also review, and you'll also get an implementation guide, which will also walk through step by step what it means to have the website on, or the code on your website, what it means for future things, as far as we'll also get you included in marketing and communications, updates to the bot. It'll also have the actual code that you'll add in the snippet and to put into your website. It'll have some FAQs for the chatbot. It'll have some FAQs for you as providers, and some other helpful information. So easiest thing to do is click on the forms now and get started on filling all that out. You'll then hear from Shannon with the partner hosting agreement and the implementation guide. And then within the next month, please, I know Shannon and Paige, who's managing this, may not want to hear this, but overwhelm us with every piece of feedback you can get. How easy was it to put on your website? The first week you heard nothing. The next week you heard from 50 people and they all said, this doesn't work. Again, we're in the soft launch. It's been beta tested, so it shouldn't be that kind of glitchy. But just hearing generally from the families you serve, was it helpful? How was it helpful? Where wasn't it helpful? Let us know. We're also creating and finalizing some marketing materials where you can use that within your own community. So, hey, there's this new chatbot. It's on our website. When you visit our website, it'll be there. If you need something, flyers, other things to get the word out within the people you serve and families you serve, and we'll get those along to you soon. And then, yes, by this time next month, it will be launched live and even more broad, so that we can get in front of as many families as possible.